everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at the marvellous Pure Acid from Jim Pavlov, Jim Audio. Jim is in the Ukraine, of course, so if you haven't already got this, you could buy it and help support Jim. Anyway, but the thing is, we're going to do like a walkthrough thing. Now, I'm not using my MIDI keyboard tonight. I'm going to do everything using the composer, which is very, very cool. So I haven't really touched on that, and I'll touch a little bit more on the very cool drum machine and things you can do with that as well. So you can change the colors and stuff. You can go up here and you can buy this IAP as well, which is the color of the Ukraine flag, but you can also just go into colors and you can change all the color settings to whatever you like. There's loads and loads to choose from, so I'm going to stick with this pink and blue. I think it's really nice. Okay, so that's your color changing thing. And you have some audio preferences and things. You can change the sample rate, the buffer size, have background audio off. You can have it timed to go off. So lots of options. Now, there's a couple of tips that I will run through. If we open our preset browser, this was one of mine. We'll open this. These are all mine that I've messed with since we've been doing it. Now, you'll see down here, there is one called Initial Blank. I'm going to hit this. And this is a state of nothing, basically. There is no patterns in here. If we look at the pattern, there's only one pattern block set up. But if we look at the length, you'll see I have it set at 16. You can increase the length of a pattern to 32, and it will give you these extra notes here. So what you want to be doing really is go into the first note here and just deleting it by hitting rest, and then you can just step through the rest of them and delete them all like that. And that you've now got a completely blank project, and go in and save the initial blank again, so that second block of 32 is gone. So now you've got nothing. And if we look at our patterns for our drums, there's nothing in here, but you will get, usually you get a kick, but I've taken it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a kick in so that we've got some reference of timing, if you like. So hit trigger, choose the first kick drum. Now I will pay a little bit of attention to the drum machine here as well. So we can turn the volume of the individual pattern up, here, and you see all these controls here are independent of each drum. So I'm going to turn the output of the drum machine up, not the actual synth. Here's your second one, but we could increase the decay, the attack, can make it really punchier less. The tuning, that's quite nice. We'll get into FX A and FX B in a moment. That's really handy for the drums. Boost, so we'll give that a bit of boost because it's really nice. And then you can also choose to pan. This is nice as well because you've got two kick drums and you've got two snares as well. So doing some panning on them is really cool. We can get into that as well. Now, here's a cool Ritley button. Drum set here. If I switch this on, you will see that for bass drum 1, there is nothing. Just you've got bass drum. But for bass drum 2, you have a little thing that says 08, 07, and 06. These refer to the kick sounds in the 808 or the 807 or the 806. So if I was to go back now to my, if I switch this back on and go to my second drum, I'm going to go to step edit. Now I can record these in also with, if I switch tape on, I can actually record them in just by playing the drums. I'll show you that as well. But I'm on kick drum 2. I'm going to go to step edit, and now I'm just going to put in a 4 on the floor. Now you only have 1 bar with the drum machine, whereas with the synth you can have up to 2 bars. doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's put an accent on this first kick. So I'm going to hit accent and tap this first kick. Okay, so now we've got an accent. If we go into our drum set now, and I'll turn the level up as well for this second one. Give it a bit of boost and all, just for fun. Okay. If we go into our drum set now, we can choose, this is an 808, so we can have the decay. So it's like an 808 kick, but we can also have a 707. I think the 707s were sampled. We can go into an a 706 as well, or 606, sorry. So for some of the drums, you do have extra sounds you can play with, which is really nice. Okay, so let's go back to drum set there. Let's go back to our 808, because I really like that. Okay, let's look at creating a sequence. Now, we're going to have a lot of fun with Pure Acid because it's so easy to get going. You've just got to understand basically how it works, and then it's really, really fast to start creating stuff. You can enter notes via a MIDI keyboard. You can also enter notes via like a keyboard sequencer that you have here. So if I turn off the drums, you'll see a keyboard will appear, and it will be and you can record. You can record in, but the most important thing to remember is you have to have right switched on. Okay, and now you're ready to start recording in. Okay, easy peasy. Switch that off. We're not going to be using the keyboard, but that's how you do it, and you can also do it. So I'm going to switch drums back on now so the keyboard disappears, and I'm going to delete these notes. So I'm going to stop it as well. Now I'm just going to put a rest there, go along, rest. Okay, so now we've got our blank pattern back again. Now the cool thing here is we can have this kind of auto program itself, because programming the 303s was a bit fiddly, you know. It's a little bit this a little bit fiddly. Here's a cool trick you can do. You're in pattern edit. So pattern was pattern 1. The length we've got set at 32. I'm going to leave it set at 32. You can have it at 16. The cool thing is you can also have it all the way down to just 1 or 2 or 8, 16. So you can get some like cool polyrhythmic stuff going on. But I'm going to leave it set on 32, which is basically 2 bars. Going to go into edit here. And you'll see where it says comp, that's composer. Okay, so if we go into comp now, we can say, well, what do we want it to be? Are we in? Well, we can leave it in C, but we can have it in any. Oh, we'll put it in F. And now you can also choose different scales. So diminished pentatonic, augmented whole tone pentatonic, Ukrainian, gypsy, Persian, all this kind of cool stuff. Let's go with something interesting for the change, shall we? So let's choose maybe a pyramid. I don't know what that is. And then you can choose whether you want notes and rests and gate data. Okay, notes and rests and length data, which we'll choose that A. All notes, which will fill in every single step. All notes and gate data. Okay, so or notes and rests. So I don't know. Let's put notes and rests. So that'll give us a more broken up pattern. And let's just hit generate now. Okay, and let's go close this, and you'll see it's generated this pattern for us. So let's have a listen. Cool beans. Let's generate another one. Just hit variation. Shuffle it round. Reverse it. So you've got tons of options just by starting this up. Let's go to Composer again. Maybe try a different scale. Let's try Augmented, and this time we'll try notes, rest, and gates. Now you can scroll through these notes and add in rests and things, or slides, or change the length. So let's choose this note here and change the length. And also let's go to the next. Let's put a slide in there as well. Go here, put a slide in, so it'll go slide up. Okay, so we've got a little pattern going on there, and it's pattern 1. Let's copy that pattern and make a variation of that pattern. So copying a pattern, super easy. Copy and paste you have down here. Sorry, what's this? What have I just done here? That's mute. So I'm going to, let's just, I'm going to hit copy here, and it'll see copy will appear there above the data wheel. Select the next pattern and go paste, and that's pasted that pattern into the second pattern slot now. So we can then go in and vary that up. So if we go to our edit here and say, we'll just make a variation of that, shall we? So now we've got 2 patterns, and let's do something interesting for the third one. Let's go to pattern again, copy that one, go there and paste it in, but let's change the length. So that pattern 3 is now only 12 steps long, but we'll make it 8. So we've got 8 steps there, which is half a bar basically. And then we can also go into our edit and go, we'll vary that one, or maybe go into our composer and go, right, okay, all notes, and that will fill all notes in. And say we don't like a particular note, let's select it and change the pitch. And then maybe add, go to the next one, add another slide. Let's go back, accent it as well. Go to the next step and add a slide down. Okay, and now we can play with the synth. So we have 2 waveforms. We have a resonant low pass filter. Give it that acidy vibe. Square wave and a sawtooth wave. Tuning. Double tap to reset. Good for performing. Okay, we have tempo, of course, for overall. Speed it up a bit for now. Swing. But you also have swing for the drums as well, so we'll leave that like that for now. Distortion, high pass filter, boost. Boost is nice with the distortion. It's a dead basic synth. There's no brains in it, you know. You also have, which you didn't normally have on the original, you also have an LFO. Now the LFO is, I think it's either a triangle wave or a sine wave. You can't change it. It's probably a sine wave. It's linked to the cutoff. Okay, so turn the rate down, turn the LFO full up, so you can hear it kind of pumping. But now we can do some cool stuff. It's nice running really slow. So let's vary up the drum pattern a little bit, just because it's getting a bit boring now. So trigger, we'll choose this hi-hat. I wondered if I'm going to put some hi-hats in anyway, but I'll put them in on-off beats. So select the drum you want to edit and choose step edit, and I'll just put them in on let's see, go to trigger, open hi-hat, select the one you want to adjust. Okay. Right. Okay, so if we look at our patterns now, we've got 3 patterns. Go back to our first pattern. The first pattern is 32 bars long. This third one is, if we look at length, 8 steps long. So let's see what that sounds like. Envelope now, decay. Okay, so let's look at the mixer section now, shall we? So the mixer will replace this the sequencer section, so you can have 3 things on at any one time. Okay, so you have bass, sequencer, mixer, drums, and also the keyboard. If any other one of these goes away, it's replaced with the keyboard. So that's it. And you can also put notes in with the MIDI controller as well. So the mixer, right, you have 2 effects, 2 send effects, right? You can send to either the effects A, the bass line, or the drums, and then you have a multi-effects, which is global. So these are the drums, so you can go with effects A or effects B. So effects A is a delay, effects B is a whole reverb. However, they do not have to be. You can choose from many different effects that are included in Pure Acid for you to play with. The most commonly used ones are whole reverb and delay, right? And you can also choose different effects for the different effects for the multi-effects, so kind of mixer effects, if you like. I'm not really sure what the M stands for, multi-mixer, but it's a global thing. However, you can choose not to have this effect go to either the bass or the drums. You can switch it off here and the multi-effects will not affect the drums, or you can switch it off here and the multi-effects will not affect the bass. Okay, so you also have this very cool thing which is called bassline, which you can choose various things on the synth to affect, but not at the same time as the multi-effects. Okay, and then you can also hold. So let's listen to how this works. It's different on the drums. It's much more logical on the drums. So for instance, I'll tell you what I'll do. Here's the thing, right? We'll go to pattern. I've got one pattern, right? And in that one pattern, I had those extra hi-hats, right? So let's listen to the drum pattern. Let's switch off. Let's go back to, let's go back to sequencer view. Let's start this off and just switch that off. So look, the drums have got this hi-hat and open hat in them and a kick drum. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this pattern. So we'll go to pattern. So it's only one pattern. There's no other patterns in here yet. So press copy, go to the pattern you want to copy it to, and then just press paste. And now you've got an exact replica of this pattern in pattern 2. Okay, so now we can start making adjustments to the drum pattern in pattern 2. So we're going to go to trigger, choose a snare, and make some adjustments to the snare sound. So okay, so that's fine. Now if I go back to mixer, if I turn on, right, if I turn on effects send A to the drums, both of these effects will go to the entire kit. Okay, so the reverb, okay, or the delay. And although it might be a nice effect sometimes, you can do that as a perform effect anyway, live if you wanted to. It's going to start sounding a little bit muddy, but there are certain drums and things that you would like to have effects go to, right? For instance, you know, reverb on snares is nice. So make sure you're on trigger mode and you select the drum you want, and you've got these drum parameters here. You see effects A and effects B. These are independent for all the different drums, which is really, really great. So for example, we can just send that reverb to the snare, and I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna go to step edit now. Change the sound further with the different controls, but you'll notice if we go back to drum now, these will all change. So if we look at our snare, and if you don't want to trigger the sound, you can use the drum select to choose the new sound, so you could do further programming. Like for instance, let's do this. We've got this pattern 2 now. Let's copy pattern 2 and paste it to pattern 3 and play it. Now let's go along to another drum here. Underneath you'll see it, and we can see what it is. So I'm on this rim. Maybe I want this one, so go into step edit now. And then we can swing the whole kit. Hit swing and use the data wheel. You hear it better. You'll hear swing better if you've got constant hi-hats. So now we've got 3 drum patterns. Let me have a look at flam. So go to trigger, look at this high tom. And I'll record the high tom in with the tape record, so tap record. So all I need to do is like, play a pattern, and it will automatically, it'll quantize it for us anyway, because it's like old school, So press tap record, and you'll see record flashes above the data wheel. We can just tap in any of the drums now we want, so very cool. Go to step edit, and you can see that we're on our high tom basically, because there's a little HC that tells us the drum we're editing. So we can look at this now at accents. We've got accents, so we could say, okay, well, select this. I'm going to hit accent and hit the first one there. So the first one will be louder than the rest of them. And then hit flam, and then I'll put a flam on this last one now, and this will sound like this. You might hear it go, but we can control the type, the amount of flam. So hit flam, use the data wheel. We're on step edit anyway, so turn flam off, and I'm going to put another, and put some more flams in here, so I can turn the overall level down. Go to trigger, select my other tom. Tune it. Trigger, go to my high tom and tune that up. And then, just for fun, I can send just some of that delay to that high tom. Now, good time to show you the mix effects now. So we have them switched on. We have the MFX switched on for both the drums and the bass, but because we've turned our bass sequencer off while we're messing with the drums, listen to what happens now when we play with the MFX for the drums. Like I said, you can choose to have them go to the bass or to the drums. Well, at the moment they're going to both, but you won't hear the bass. If you press hold, okay, you have a load of different effects. So tape delay, let's listen to that, shall we? Oh, very nice. Final effect. Slicer. These are really cool performance tools. An LFO saw type filter. Low pass filter. Good for your filter build-ups. great. Chorus. Stereo flanger and an ordinary flanger. See you later, Sam. Auto pan. So let's put this on the decimator. And if we switch back on our bass now, sorry, sequencer, we'll switch it back on. Go to our mixer. I'm going to send the basic delay, this one, to the bass. Sorry, I'm sending it to the drums. Now you'll see, because MFX is switched on for both of them, it's going to affect both the bass and the drums. But if you only wanted it to affect the bass, just switch it off here. Now, another cool thing is, if we switch this on bassline, we're basically bypassing the multi-effects, okay, the MFX, the performance effects type things. But now we're able to control the cutoff and the resonance, or many other things on the bass synth. So with the XY controller, so it sounds like this. Watch, you can watch here the cutoff and the resonance. Cut off an envelope. But the two most played with controls on a 303 were the cutoff and the resonance to get that acid squelchy vibe thing going on. So look, that's kind of different ways that you can control the sound and perform the sound live if you wanted to. That's the kind of cool stuff you could do. If we switch sequence back on now, we've got these three patterns. Let's make a fourth pattern, and let's just go to edit and use the composer. So it's just generate a bunch of stuff. Okay, so now we've got 4 patterns. Song mode is song mode is on all the time. It's just that it's a bit weird how it's set up. So this is our 4 pattern. So you can choose patterns anytime you like, in any order you like. Okay, so, and if we look at our drums and we go to pattern, we'll see that we have 3 patterns. Well, we can add more patterns, or we can leave it as 3 patterns. But say we want to make it like a song now. Let's make another pattern. But instead of copying and pasting, let's just go to pattern 4, which we know is empty. Let's go to trigger and let's select this kick drum here and just go, and I'll accent all of those. just maybe choose another one. I'll record in by hand. So. That's pattern 4, and if we go back to pattern 1, let's look at song mode. So let's go to pattern, select our first pattern. Now, like I said, it's more or less it's in song mode all the time. Right now, while you're in pattern on either of these, the data wheel will determine how many times any pattern plays. So you select a pattern here. So select pattern 1 for obvious reasons, but you don't have to do it in this order. You can do it in any order you like. The data wheel now, you'll notice in the top corner of this one, I don't know if you can see it, I'm going to make this really, I can hardly see this now, but you should be able to see it a lot better when I do this. So, okay, yeah, right. So you notice in the top corner of this one, as I move this data wheel, you see it says ×2, 3, 4 times, and you can go all the way up to, I don't know, flipping heck, 32. So you could have that pattern repeat 32 times, and it's a 2-bar pattern, so that's 64. Now I'm going to take it right down, okay? So I'm going to have this first pattern repeat 4 times. I'm going to go to pattern 2. I'll have this repeat 3 times. This could be like a fill pattern, so we could leave it just repeat once because it's only half a bar. So if it's only half a bar, let's have it play twice. So it's effectively playing 1 bar. And let's go to our 4th pattern and have this play 4 times, and then it will go back to this first pattern. There is a way to get this to do this right, and it's not that obvious. So I'm going to do the same with the drums. I'm going to select pattern 1, and I'm going to have pattern 1 play. You'll see it here 4 times. Pattern 2, I'm going to have play 3 times, the same. But this is different, right? Because this is half the length. So I'm going to have pattern this play 8 times. I'm going to have this play 6 times. I'm going to have, because it's double. Do you see what I'm saying? This is only 1 bar, but we're dealing with 2 bars here. This is only half a bar. So doubling it up is only 1 bar. So I can leave 3 on nothing because it's 1 bar. And then this one I will set at 8. Yeah. Now, maybe this will work and maybe it won't. Oh, God, I've just moved my arm in a funny position now. Right, so I'm going to take this back up now so I can see it because I can't. Okay. Okay. So we'll go back to pattern 1 on 1. So when I start playing now, theoretically, these will start to change. And if I've got it right, then it should work okay. They should all change at the same time and then jump back. I mean, if my calculation is right, which it may well not be, but you know, we shall see. But this is song mode. Now, right, listen, I forgot to do the main thing. In song mode, to get it to play the song, you have to do one important step, which is not obvious at all. What you do, now you'll see this change. What you do is you long hold on a pattern. See that change now? And we're going to just scroll along like that. Now you can have up to 12 of these. And I'm going to do the same for this. Watch, I'm going to long hold on this first pattern and scroll along to pattern 4. This is put it into pattern mode now, okay? So this is put it into song mode, and it's pretty much always in song mode. You just have to do this. It will come out of song mode as soon as you tap anything else. It's now not in song mode, but this still is. Okay, so let's just long hold again. Go along to 1 to 4. Now let's play it. So, cool beans. It's good fun. And there's another thing you can do as well, like, so you can transpose as well. So if I tap either of these and come out of song mode, if you like, we can transpose. It's very handy if you're performing live. And there you go, guys. There is a basic tutorial on Pure Acid, programming drums, programming the synth. Synth's easy to program, obviously, but programming patterns, doing all the cool stuff you can do with the editing, and like you can put it with MIDI keyboards, like I said. It's awesome. It's bloody awesome, Pure Acid is. I love it, and it's easy. I like it because it's simple and straightforward, and you can do everything by hand. You know, you can select a note, and if you increase the length of a note, don't forget it's monophonic, so it will push the other notes along. But you can do all sorts of shuffles, you can reverse patterns, you can go nuts. It's great. So for instance, most important thing is when you're happy, go to save as, call this, I don't know, I don't know, acid tutorial, just for fun, hit save, and now you've got a completely new thing. So if you go back to your initial blank now, which is important to have, though your initial blank will be back to normal, doing nothing at all, then you could go to your acid tutorial and it'll all be as you left it. So I'm just gonna, these are ones I've done over time, but there are tons of stuff that you can mess with in the factory banks, you know. But I'll play out with a few of my bits and pieces that I've done. I'll just keep changing the tempo and stuff just for fun. Yeah, awesome, guys. Thank you very, very much for joining me this evening. There's still time to super chat and super thanks. Still time for you to be generous to me and Joe. Thank you very, very much for joining me. If you haven't already struck the like, strike it now. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you're not already a Patreon, please consider becoming one, because there's lots of cool stuff there and loads of free stuff as well. Right. Okay. Let's do it, shall we? Let's just have a mess. What have I on? Test for echo. Don't know what this will be like.